Hello, Morgan Miller. How are you?
Hello, Ms. Wumble Patel. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. It's nice to see you. And I think of all the videos that I've done, you always have the best background. Like you've really set up your Zoomscape and like have really stuck to it with the bookshelf.
Thank you. People actually ask if it's real. This just happens to be my happy space. This is one of the reasons why we bought the house, and I get to work from my library. And my husband and I have read all of the books.
That's incredible.
It's real. It's not a background.
Yeah, and you have a beautiful home. So I haven't seen this tiny corner of it, but it's beautiful. Okay. You are a very rare person, in my opinion. And so I wanted to do this video with you because you have done consulting work with us. You have done consulting work with others, but primarily your background is as a technology executive and sales leader. And so you bring a bit of a different perspective because I think everyone else that's come through Keenan Reed has come from a consulting firm, or at least brought that background, and you bring something quite different, actually. I wanted to ask you a question though about being an interim leader, because you've taken roles as an interim CRO.
Yep.
How do you come into a C-level role as an interim leader and gain any sort of buy-in and credibility and the ability to move an organization in the way that a C-suite leader really needs to do?
Yeah, I mean, when you put it that way, it makes it sound really good. I mean, it's not, it's not always super easy. I think when it has worked for me is when I have really strong buy-in and sponsorship from at least two other members from the C-suite. So I'll use an example. I was interim CRO for a little over 6 months. For a division of Heidrick and Struggles, and my sponsor and backer and boss was the CEO. And so he had credibility and lent me his credibility and said, hey, look, here's why I'm bringing Morgan in. You guys report to her now, which was a surprise. That was a little bit unusual. So I think sponsorship and to lend instant credibility plus, background. I think the ability to be vulnerable and empathetic, so it doesn't feel like you're coming over the top and cramming down a pre-existing playbook, but you're sitting back and listening to the team, I think is the second thing that really helps. And then that's a great learning opportunity too, right? When you can sit back and just take it all in as quickly as possible. And then do what you need to do to bring the rest of the organization with you. I have primarily been hired as an interim executive to lead organizational change. And so that inherently is difficult. And so understanding how people are wired and kind of understanding how to get through some of those emotional hurdles while also bringing people with you, having them feel like they're a valuable part of the team in the decision-making process, I think is also pretty critical.
Well, that is, I think that's perfect. And you actually mentioned what I think is your second rare skill. And this is my second question for you, was you are incredibly comfortable with empathy and use that as one of the key tools in your leadership toolbox. How do you think you do that? I mean, I think part of this is that you're just wired this way, but talk us through how you think about it and how might you coach that out of someone like me, who is a hard turtle, who just wants to cram it down people's throats.
Yeah, no, oh man, Lauren. No, naturally, I'm a crammer, like for sure. I'm a crammer. Like type A personality, achiever, only child, came in as an admin level into Microsoft, often the only girl in the room, certainly the youngest by often 20 years. So that wasn't very healthy. That really, I'll just say I wasn't an empathetic person. And then I married my husband and became a step parent to a 4 and a 9-year-old and lost control of every aspect of my life overnight. When I went to bed, my own schedule, when I could get work in, what I ate, when I ate, just, normal things that parents deal with. And here I was in my late 30s, like, oh my God, I'm a control freak. And now suddenly I have control over nothing. And one of the things that the kids and my second permanent husband, who you know well, taught me is to soften my edges. So one of the things that really helped me early on in my tech career was having really sharp elbows and a lot of grit, because I needed it. The thing that propelled me in the second part of my career, I'll just say post stepmotherhood, I would say is 100% due to my amazing bonus children, because I couldn't act the way at home that I acted at work. And I was like, gosh, maybe I just need to kind of merge the two together and round out those sharp elbows. And so I think losing complete control of every aspect of my life helped me it forced me to be introspective. And I'll say that that was a very, very intense period of therapy for me, which also really helped. So really thought about my wiring.
Writing.
I was really
therapy.
Yeah. No, like, yeah, this is my self-help book section. You can literally read the titles. No, so I don't think I was naturally born with empathy. I think I was thrown into a situation where I quickly needed to learn how to put others first and to really think about what's best for these other human beings. And that naturally translated into work. And I will also say, I was lucky enough to work for some wonderful human beings that I felt comfortable saying, like, one day they saw me without my wedding ring. They're like, hey, are you okay? What's going on? They could tell if I was upset or distracted. Hey, Morgan, are you okay? What's going on? I had to go from managing a very large sales and marketing organization to an individual contributor role because my reserves were completely depleted. And I told everyone what was going on. And I absolutely couldn't believe the way people reacted, which was very positive. Oh, hey, I've been through it, girl. Like, call me if you need something. Oh my gosh, Morgan, wow, you basically seem to have softened some of your rough edges. I like this version better. Like, it just, I think people around me, it didn't come innately from me. It really came from people around me.
Somehow, despite that, though, I think it's become really core to who you are. It's almost like a eraser erased whatever was protecting that. And now it's like a really obvious and shining core strength.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thanks.
It's
in therapy, man. It's a great recipe.
We share some similar, I mean, like, we have a lot of commonalities and like that are kind of common but different. And I am also a bonus mother. Came in when my boys were 8 and 10. I think a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old are quite different. Like, I have a little guy now. I know a 4-year-old is really different. But it didn't have that effect on, like, that's not what happened to me. What happened to me was I felt like I had come into a boat that was drifting on the seas aimlessly. And my job was to all of a sudden become the navigator and to get the chore chart and to get a schedule and to put kind of order to the chaos that was in the fraternity that I had stepped into. It wasn't, for me, it was almost like, and actually now that you say this, I had a huge transition at that time. That's when I left my job at Dell.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is, all of a sudden it became very not worth it to me. It was just like, this is stupid. Right. And the priorities really shifted. And I kind of went through a transition period in my career, which led me to find a route that worked for me, which was giving up a lot of the things kind of on the executive track that I thought I always wanted. It was just all of a sudden, like, I value the autonomy a bit more than than whatever that would have been. So, which actually is a great segue to my third question, which is around transitions. You have been, so I went through that as a major career transition. You, in the last 2 years, have been through a major career transition. You were a sales leader at Microsoft. You went through, that period. You were leading a team, and then you chose willingly to leave. And you left a lot on the table when you did that, both, I think, financially, as well as, I'm going to say, probably ego, as well as intellectual stimulation. What led you to that transition, and where has it taken you over the last 2 years?
Yeah. So a little 10 seconds of context here. I was at Microsoft for 17 years. I was hired in a business role, but at an admin level, because I went to a state school. I didn't go to MIT or Harvard or Princeton or Yale, and so those are kind of the lumps. But I was so thankful to be there, and I left. So I went from an admin level to a partner level. I achieved kind of the one thing. I was like, I want to prove that I can do this, and I want to prove to other people that they can do this too. It is achievable. You can do things the right way, and grow your career fast at this particular company. Every company is different, but the year I left, I did the biggest deal, biggest balance of trade deal with a partner, Microsoft Record, and clocked a promotion and left about 10 days later. And it was a surprise to pretty much everyone, but I'd achieved my goal. And I thought, how boring of me to be at the same company for almost 20 years. What are the experiences that I need to get, knowing that I could always come back if I want to? What are the experiences that I need that will make me a stronger commercial leader? That's it. Like, I knew if I jumped that I land on soft ground, I know enough that I can rely on myself. Maybe that is stupidity. Maybe that's arrogance. Maybe that's ego. But, it's like, I kind of have nothing to lose. I'm going to do this. If I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. So then I called you.
You're like,
Lauren, I need a job.
You're like, I'm gonna jump, and then you're like, wait a second, what did I do? Yeah, no.
Exactly. And then I just started networking. To be fair, I had accepted a role before I left Microsoft, so it wasn't a complete jump into the abyss. And so I've been consulting short-term gigs that one 6-month stint, one 4-month stint, and I can tell you, I am a much better commercial leader than I was 2 years ago. The experiment paid off, but I paid into it. So I don't want to talk about the financial hit. I'm still not over it. I'll probably never be over it.
Well, you don't know that. I think you're looking at it from this point in time. I think if you look at it 10 years from now, that might be a very different equation.
Let's hope so.
Let's hope so. We had fun. Okay.
It's been fun. No, it's great. I have absolutely loved the last couple of years. I don't know what the future holds, but I've learned new playbooks that I'm going to take with me anywhere I go, whether I go back to big tech, whether I continue to consult. Now I can scale from startup all the way through big enterprise, and I have playbooks in between. And I think that that's just invaluable.
Well, that's great. Thank you. I'll leave it there. Thank you so much for sharing, as always, the inside and your empathetic thoughts with everyone. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you for who you are. So thanks, Morgan. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for making me feel so good about myself, Lauren. Likewise.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. That was great.
Yay. So fun.